And then Wood Street on the south side between 58 and South Washington. And then on either side of South Washington and Highway 63. There's no parking on Wood Street on both sides between South Washington and Highway 63.
Chrissy, where are you seeing this? Just in case
It's
any
under code section 69.08. It's our no parking zones.
Got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, and if you're like me, you have to actually look on a map to
Exactly.
understand where this is all.
See, now, I can tell you, I can look exactly.
I can tell you, yeah. So,
But that's just because I've been here too long.
Any further discussion?
This is a tough one for me. Just because I think I can see both sides of this. That, you know, the farmer's trying to get in, but we can't represent everything for the farmer. Not that, I shouldn't say it that way. That it's a residential area that's there too, that we need to be cognizant about. You know, and I know I've said in the past too, but, you know, your houses are set back. Not everybody's is, but that neighborhood was never plotted out with a city and with the zoning and everything that we have now. It was done before that. And that's a tough thing because it doesn't go by what we would have normally, what anybody would have set up in town. You know, it's the same thing with the Butterfield properties too, that were just kind of built out there before anything was set up, and then there's not a lot we can do about it, but we've also got to keep people safe out there. You know, and I told you this, and I said it just a little while ago too, yeah, there hasn't been anything there. There hasn't been anybody hit across 63 either, but we spent a whole lot of money to make sure that that doesn't happen, which is kind of how I look at it with this one too. And I think maybe I don't know if there's a good compromise or not. But let's see.
I just want to say,
I feel like there is.
Can public comment continue?
yeah, I'll let you comment.
Well, I just wanted to point out that when this form went out to people, there was no conversation, no sales pitch was made. It was simply delivered to homes. If they wanted to return it, fill it out, return it, they could. They didn't. They didn't have to. Two of the first forms that came back were from individuals in Hudson Heights who are retired law enforcement people who are very much on board with this. They feel it's an unsafe area.
My problem with and Greg, I don't think I told you this before, but my only problem with that is that I wish you would have given those forms as well to the people that live on that street.
Yeah.
I would completely understand that most, if not all of the residents in that Hudson Heights neighborhood agree with this, but we also have to keep in mind the people that live on the road as well for their public, you know, living, I guess is how you want to say it. You know, and I go back to, somebody mentioned one time in a meeting, we were talking about Ranchero and how to set up those houses, that, you know, we can't just look out for these 11 people, we gotta look out for everybody that lives out there. And that's I wish that petition would have been given not only to that neighborhood, but all of the residents having the same option to put in their 2 cents with that.
My only comment on that would be, if that petition was given to Hudson Heights and you guys have no jurisdiction over the Heights, why did they get a say then on city limits?
Because they drive on that road.
Because they drive on the road,
I understand that.
You drive on a lot of roads.
Absolutely, and we're gonna take into account everybody's safety in this, and their safety.
Clearly ours wasn't, obviously, you know.
No,
like
but
you
it's
said,
not. That's why we've invited
We weren't
you.
given this form.
Well, and that's why we sent you a letter to say this is what's going on and this is what's on the agenda, so that we did invite you to come here, because I know I made that request right away, that if we're gonna do this, we need to let everybody that lives there know that this is what's going on, so that you have the same opportunity to come and respond.
And may I comment, please? Not everybody was given the letter like that I received because they're renters.
renters.
So there's several rental properties, 1, 2, 3 out there, and they
We
weren't.
never received a notice.
I sent it to the landlord because that's
That's the registered person.
the registered person of the lot.
And unfortunately, that's part of renting too, is
Sure.
that, you know what I mean? That it's their property, they're the ones that get that choice. With that, I mean, I get it. I get it.
If I may comment, just a quick comment, I feel like if there's a compromise, we'd be willing to make it. We want safety too.
Absolutely.
That corner is deadly.
Yeah.
I mean, anything we can do to make that corner better.
Yeah.
But I think,
Regardless of what the council decides in the
Yeah.
next few minutes,
you're welcome to go out and create your own petition to circulate amongst the renters, amongst the others, something to say, hey, here's our preference. And that would be acceptable at the next time this comes up for discussion.
Yeah, this isn't over,
It's not too late.
obviously, but
We
yeah.
still have, yep.
So,
But I think I cut Greg off. I apologize for that if I cut you off while you were talking. If you have something final to others to say.
The only other thing I wanted to make comment on, somebody had to come up with this form. In this case, it was me. I have had this concern for a long time. I didn't know how other people felt that used that road. So it wasn't really designed to be a petition.
mhm.
I just wanted other people's opinion. Am I the only one that has this concern? How do you feel about it? And I didn't want to put a spin on it, and that's why we didn't. There was a few that were hand-delivered, but out of 40, there was probably 35 plus that were just dropped on. I was amazed how many came back. I didn't really expect that. But again, because some of the first ones coming back were from people with law enforcement background, I thought that was kind of an eye-opener.
If anything good comes of this, the discussion, I think, has been eye-opening to everybody involved in the thing, to just make sure, tell your kid to park farther over if nothing else. I think that's helped things even in the last couple of weeks, but.
I just want to clarify one thing.
Yep.
I am not swayed very much by the farm argument, and that's not to say I have disregard for farmers. What I'm swayed by is what I see on Ranchero Road in front of my own house, which is when there's a car parked on the street and there's two cars trying to get through in a 24-foot road, that's a problem. And so whether it's you or you, I'm sympathetic to what farmers are doing, obviously. But that part of it, to me, this was a red flag before the farm equipment argument came to the table. So, just clarifying that.
Any other council discussion?
Just that I want to mention too, that do vote yes and move this forward. That definitely will be talking to the city attorney, so if we decide to, to work on a compromise, we'll know what our next step is in that.
Thank you.
Roll call.
Reister,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Bunce,
Aye.
Engel.
No.
I didn't even know
I didn't know she
if
was
was
here.
on
Yeah,
that.
she just, a little bit ago.
She just got.
Okay, so motion passes 4-1.
So you've heard what's at. It'll be on council agenda then in 2 weeks, Monday. But I encourage you to, come up with an opinion sheet for your residents, whether it be in favor of no parking, in favor of continuing exactly the way it is, or one side, see what y'all can come up with, and then in the meantime, we'll figure out what could occur besides a yes or no at the third reading in 2 weeks. Okay?
Thanks for coming in,
Yeah,
We should be present then in 2 weeks?
yeah, I would be.
if you'd like to be.
Either that or send in a written or whatever you want to do,
All right,
but,
both.
yeah, that's
You can-
fine.
You can feel free to leave now, you don't have to stick around for the whole
Oh,
meeting.
good.
Unless you want to.
Thank you. Thanks for your time.
And if you have, again, like I said, if there's anybody else that has specific things, and Greg, you too, please feel free to have them sent in via email or whatever they want to do, because to say, everybody out here feels this way, unfortunately doesn't hold tons of weight, because I could say everybody in town wants this too, and that
Yeah, I say to
So-
several families. which
Yeah,
is-
absolutely.
Right.
So if they want to send an email separately, that way we've got it on
Yeah.
record who it is. And if, I kind of feel if somebody wants to come and whine to me, they can come whine to me about anything, but unless they're willing to put it in writing, it's not that important until you put it in writing or show up for it. So yeah, ask them to do it individually. Greg, I'd say the same thing about you too. If they have this strong feeling, send us an email about it.
Absolutely.
Thanks
for
all
your
of you
time.
for coming.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you all.
We like input. Thanks, Rick. Hobart B.
B,
Yes, we
yeah,
are.
Yep.
Item B, discussion action to approve resolution 2686, a resolution for approval to enter into a water tower land lease agreement for the city of Hudson, Iowa. And which one is the first one, Katie?
This,
STS or
First
LTD?
one is,
I believe it's STS.
STS.
I think so too.
yep,
And what they're set at is $250 per month, 3-year term, lease payments to start once they actually do something on the water tower. Because some of them, they might not be able to get stuff going before the winter time, so.
I'd move to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
We are not entering into agreements with either party as far as services in lieu of.
Correct, we are
Correct.
staying
It's
with
neutral?
the exact same thing on each of the agreements.
Thank you.
And then in the future, they can do a sales pitch to one of the converters. So.
Absolutely, so.
I got the motion second, right?
Yep.
Roll call.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Buns,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Engel,
You said aye.
and Reister.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item C, discussion action to approve resolution 2687, a resolution for approval to enter into a water tower lease agreement for the city of Hudson, Iowa, and this is with LTD Broadband LLC, essentially the exact same arrangement, $250 a month, 3-year term, and lease payments starting once they start putting stuff on the tower.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion, roll call.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Reister,
Aye.
Engel.
Aye.
Buns,
Aye.
motion carries 5-0.
Item D, discussion action to approve resolution 2688, a resolution of the City Council of Hudson, Iowa to adopt an updated emergency operation plan.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
This went all through Intercog, or whoever, emergency management brought it to us to update everything, right?
It was actually brought to our attention by the auditors last year, so, and it was something that we didn't have, that they strongly suggested that we do. So we started with Intercog, and so then Intercog wrote it according to what Hudson is, but we passed it on to EMA, the county, I can't remember who it all went through.
It looked really comprehensive, but I think it's a great thing to bring up after we've just had these horrendous storms.
Exactly, because
So
we
close
had
to us.
no, like, what if something happened to City Hall? We had no backup
Yeah, we
site
were-
to go to, and now that's all spelled out.
We were
so.
10 miles away from potentially having that
The
happen.
one thing we're still missing on it, we have the alternative sites to City Hall, but what we discovered is we don't have named in that a site outside the city of Hudson.
I was gonna say.
I'm working on that, and I expect to have an agreement. The city, school has an agreement with an entity. I'm working with that same entity to see if we can get that same agreement.
Where did we do?
I thought it was named in there.
Well, it was not named, but I'm working with Perkins.
Where was the outside, just because I didn't read that part, is the school the outside of City Hall in town?
Outside of City Hall, alternate City Hall is the Hudson Street Department, the Hudson Fire EMS Station, Hudson High School, Hudson Junior High, Hudson Elementary. So what we want to do is I'll be working with, school has Prairie Lakes
Perfect.
Church as their backup, and that's what we'll
I
probably do.
think it's a great place to
I have it in there, I
be
think.
close.
I hope.
Roll call?
Wyatt,
Aye.
Buns,
Aye.
Engel,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Reister. Motion carries 5-0.
Item E, discussion action to approve resolution 2689, a resolution approving a FEMA conflict of interest policy. And this is kind of a requirement, right, Chrissy?
Yes. In order to get money from the CARES Act, we have to pass them.
Oh,
Discussion.
Lawson,
Aye.
Reister.
Aye.
Buns,
aye.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Engel.
Aye.
5-0 carries.
Item F, discussion action to approve resolution 2690, resolution approving a FEMA procurement policy, kind of the same deal.
Move. Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Reister.
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Engel,
Aye.
Buns,
Aye.
Wyatt.
Aye.
Motion carries 5-0.
Item G, discussion action to approve resolution 2691, a resolution to approve the purchase of security cameras for the city of Hudson to be installed by ACES, correct?
Yes, and Hawkeye.
And Hawkeye
Alarm.
Alarm.
Yep.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Is the funding of all of this coming out of the reserves, was that
Yes.
correct?
Yep.
And there will be 3 inside cameras,
Yes.
so we will be able to see,
Indoor, the city clerk office facing the public counter,
okay,
above the police department doorway to capture people approaching the police department office,
okay,
and in the city
Here.
council chambers to capture council meetings.
Okay.
Then externally, one on the east side of the building above the entrance facing the parking lot, facing south, and on the west side of the building, capturing the approach to the building and the parking lot facing south.
I just wondered if there's any sense in, at the same time, do we need anything down below with the parking lot to the community center?
Oh, maybe facing out the entryway?
That's what
in the
I'm
community center?
wondering,
Okay.
if that would be something that would be necessary as well. While we're doing it at the same time, is it of best value to do that?
That's fine, yeah, and I think they pretty much can add
Not
however
sure
many
what the
feet.
cost would be, but
Yeah.
I'll be able to do it, be just the additional wiring and,
Mhm.
the
I mean,
camera.
Cost of the camera.
Yep.
Okay,
I just think.
I didn't think about that, sorry.
No, that's fine, but I just think that even, I don't necessarily think the inside of it, but the
Right,
outside.
but
the-
facing the parking lot.
Right, if we're gonna do it.
I got a motion to approve, and did I get a second?
Yes, yes, you
Yeah.
did.
Okay.
So,
Do we need to?
can we just
make-
go ahead and move forward with this and then just get a separate bid for that, or?
Do we have a date that they were planning on doing this?
No. They don't know.
Somebody want to propose an amendment, adding a camera downstairs?
I would make that amendment
Second?
that we add, yeah, that we would add that additional camera down there.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, now, can I have any further discussion on the amended decision, including the extra camera? Roll call.
Buns.
Aye.
Wyatt.
Aye.
Engel.
Aye.
Lawson.
Aye.
Reister.
Aye.
Carries 5-0.
Very good, good thought. Okay. Item H, discussion action to approve resolution 2692, a resolution to approve installation of access control system for the city of Hudson. And that's with Hawkeye Alarm and Signal and Automotive Door Group, and this is where, Chrissy, you said you tried other places and
Yeah.
got no responses. from
Yeah,
anybody.
I reached out to, I can't remember who I reached out to first, but then they led me to Doors Inc. Doors Inc. doesn't do it, so they led me to the third person.
This is the key fob installation or the handicap
The,
installation?
the key fob installation, what we're talking about is the handicap button.
This is the handicap button, not the key fob. The key fob installation's the next thing?
No, the key fob, it's the key fob and the handicap button installation is the same item.
It's all in the
It's
same
all in the
resolution.
same.
It is in the same one?
Yeah.
Again, is there a need to do this downstairs? Or would this be a better option downstairs to be able to have that option to be able to shut it down if necessary, since there is no lock in between downstairs City Hall to upstairs City Hall?
There is a lock, if you don't block that door open, you can't get upstairs without a key.
But do we know if there's keys out there to that?
There's no key to it. You can't unlock it.
That's the point.
So it's
right?
just lockable from it's the switch key
Yeah.
without a key.
But there's not, on the outside, or on the other side in the community center, there's not a way to unlock that door.
Okay.
What about handicap access to the community center, the door openers?
I believe in our concrete bid, this doesn't have to do with the openers, but they're gonna make that so there's an
More
actual
accessible.
access right there for, so it'd be a good idea to have a door opener down there too, I think.
Obviously, it doesn't get used a lot right now because of COVID as much as anything, but
Well,
in the
no,
future.
but
as we
there's-
Are you
continue-
talking a button, like a handicap button, or are you talking like both? Okay.
Is it,
I would suggest
Because
on
you're
that
gonna have
one,
to do
What
both
do you
doors.
mean both?
I would suggest that we consider
The key
just this
fob
one, but
and
then
a
research.
button.
But if
We're
they're
going
gonna
down
put in
there.
the camera, they'd wanna do the wiring for the
right, that's what I'm
handicap
saying.
at the same time.
They're gonna be the same wires,
There's,
the cameras as well as the doors, you think?
the electrician's gonna probably be here one time to do all of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. So do you wanna do the same thing?
Well, my problem is there's a lot of updates that need to be done in that downstairs portion. I mean, this whole city hall has a lot of updates that really need to be done because it's been
Well-
40 years since this place has been updated, well, 30.
Basically, the way this looks to me is to install automatic door operators, it'd be another $4,000 to add downstairs. Because
Is
it's a
it-
Hawkeye alarm bid 5,000 for all doing the wiring plus the 4,000 for the autos. So you got,
It's not,
the access
Um,
software is the $5,000, $4,000 to do a button. You wanna do a button downstairs, another $4,000.
I think we need to
I don't think it's used that
investigate that. We need to investigate that at
Is
another,
it-
another
if-
time.
If we update, is it code requirement to have a handicap button in those?
Yep, if you're gonna do remodeling, I think you have to bring it up to ADA compliance.
But does an ADA require a button access?
I believe so.
I thought they did too.
Do you have a button access to the ambets?
We do not.
Did you do remodeling that would have required you to make it ADA accessible by being able to go up the ramp?
No, did the building inspector?
Oh, I wish you hadn't gone down that rabbit hole.
Oops.
Okay, anyway.
What I do not know is I don't know whether ADA requires button accesses as opposed to simply the grade of the access and the width of the doors.
I don't know that either, but
I don't know either, but from past experience,
again, it's a city building, it would make sense to do it.
yeah.
But I
that's all
do
it's
think
gonna
that we
take.
should pass this first, and I think we should research that, because I don't know that they're gonna get it done in the next 2 weeks anyway. And if we can ask them if there's a difference, if we do it now versus if
Will they
we
give us a
add it
discount?
later. Yeah, will it be cheaper if we do it now while they're doing all of it? Versus, I mean, if it's gonna be the same price now or later, let's research it and figure it out later. You know, but if it's gonna be a discount, we should talk about it.
Right. I would agree with
That's
that.
my thoughts.
Okay.
You know, so if we can reach out and find that out. I don't think they'll probably get to it in 2 weeks anyway,
No,
so, we would have
Maybe.
time to bring it back, maybe, but,
maybe.
you know, and if that's the case, do we send it, you know,
Make a quick
whatever?
call to them and see, and we can do an electronic
Yeah.
meeting if we have to.
Right, so that's my thoughts on that whole thing, but I'm okay with leaving it as is now, but just thought to bring it
Yeah,
up.
good thoughts.
We do not have a motion at all.
Oh,
I move that we do whatever.
Second.
any further discussion?
As
How about a roll
listed,
call?
correct?
Reister,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Engel,
Aye.
Buns,
Aye.
Wyatt.
Aye.
Is your volleyball game about done? Item I, discussion action to approve resolution 2693, a resolution approving the transfer of funds for September 2020. This is standard.
So moved.
Second.
Third,
Discussion,
whatever.
roll call.
Buns,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Reister,
Aye.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Engel,
Item J,
Aye.
5-0, passes.
Item J, discussion action to approve resolution 2694, a resolution to replace the dump body on 2003 Sterling plow truck for the city of Hudson, which Jake wished me to have at the beginning of the meeting.
This was tabled last meeting.
Right.
I went to Future Line, they're in Cedar Rapids. They build custom bodies. It's not the same brand, but it's the same everything. It's just they build their own.
Sure.
They were $4,000 more expensive,
Thank you.
so.
Thank you for double checking that. I would
Yeah.
make a motion to approve.
Second.
Discussion?
And we were going with the stainless is what was
Right.
recommended. Yeah.
Yep.
Roll call.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Engel,
Aye.
Buns,
Aye.
Reister, 5-0, carries.
Item K, discussion action to approve resolution 2695, a resolution for the city council of the city of Hudson approving the submittal of a grant-seeking funds for the tennis court improvements and pickleball court conversion. This is a requirement of Blackhawk Gaming that we have to have resolutions.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Wyatt,
Aye.
Reister,
Aye.
Buns,
Aye.
Lawson,
Aye.
Engel,
Aye.
5-0, carries.
Number of informational items, reminder items, regular scheduled meetings held at council chambers except for electric board and library board. Public Works Committee is tomorrow morning, 7 a.m.
I will not
October
be here.
14th. Mayor's Task Force, October 20th at 5 p.m. unless we cancel it later. Public Safety Committee meeting, October 22nd at 4 p.m. Personal Admin Finance Committee, October 26th, 4:45. Next council meeting is October 26th at 6 p.m. and November 9th at 6 p.m. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Good.
Second.
All in favor, say